Hey there, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of the Purple Breakdown, a podcast covering the Baltimore Ravens. And I know I typically don't release this often and this quick, but I said I would keep up to date with news, and if something big happened, I would be here to cover it. And that news has come. The silence has been lifted, the veil has been pulled back, and we can see clearly now. The Ravens have hired their next head coach. It is Jesse Minter. Now, this goes back into what I said a while ago. I did not call Jesse Minter getting hired. I still really liked Brian Flores as the number one pick. But going back to what I said earlier, that the Ravens needed to focus on fixing the defense first, and Jesse Minter is definitely a defensive-minded head coach, as being the DC for the Chargers, and I believe before that, the Michigan Wolverines. And I just believe he was the defensive coordinator under Jim Harbaugh for the Wolverines. So the Ravens have decided, you know what? We agree with that. We're going to fix the defense first. And they have hired Jesse Minter to be that guy. He's definitely an X's and O's type of guy. Bisciotti and DeCosta were talking about that they wanted somebody like that could hold players accountable, and Minter, it can definitely be that type of guy going forward. This definitely feels like a return to the old. It's definitely a move that the Ravens love to make, going back to somebody who they're connected with, know very well, and who's already been established within the organization and has trust within the organization. He's really connected to the Harbaugh tree, not just Jim Harbaugh, but also John Harbaugh. He was the defensive assistant for the Ravens in 2017 through 2020. So he was there under Mike Macdonald too, when Macdonald was at the Ravens. And he, as said previously, was defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh, both at Michigan and for the Chargers. The interesting point that I think going with Minter here is that it feels like the Ravens are trying to return to the success they had under Mike Macdonald. I know multiple other people have said this already, and I'm not the first one to say it, but Minter runs a defense that is very similar to what Mike Macdonald runs at the Seahawks, and everyone's seen the success they've had there this year, and everyone's seen the success they had at Baltimore a few years ago, that he had at Baltimore a few years ago. So it feels like the Ravens are trying to return to that, and it's got no need for a lot of further explanation going, other than that he runs a similar defense because he learned under him. He learned from Mike Macdonald and is taking that defensive forward. It's a great defense. I think he can definitely do a lot with Hamilton. Macdonald did a lot with Hamilton and the core that is there, and I think he'll step up and help fix the defense first. And I love that. I wholeheartedly agree that the Ravens brought in a defensive-minded head coach, and I'm happy for it. Still was hoping on Brian Flores, but I can't complain about that now. The Ravens have their next head coach in Jesse Minter, and going to stand behind him. He's going to be an amazing head coach, and I can't wait to see what he does for the Ravens. As long as he's there, I hope he has a successful and long career, just like Harbaugh did, and that it can last 18 years, and hopefully it brings more than one Super Bowl. Hopefully it brings a few Super Bowls to the Ravens, and that his defensive mind will help solidify this defense and bring it back so that it is a juggernaut on the defensive side. I mean, again, bring back that confidence, hold players accountable, step up so that players aren't miscommunicating, that expectations are always clear and that executions are happening on the defensive side of the ball. What makes this interesting, though, is that, yeah, he definitely impressed Bisciotti and DaCosta and the organization in his interviews. They said that when this release happened, but he has to have a game plan for the offensive side of the ball, too. As much as I say fix the defensive side, there definitely needs to be a game plan for the offensive side. And I'm curious to see what connections he has and who he can bring in as offensive coordinator. I think Lamar will have a very big part to play in that and who Lamar gels with. Because again, as I said in the previous podcast, Lamar is not going anywhere. It does not make sense to trade Lamar away, even if you're getting Mendoza in return. Mendoza's not a proven quarterback in the NFL. He has to go play there. And how many of these generational quarterback talents have we seen that have come into the NFL and not been what they were expected to be? And I'm not saying that that's going to happen to Mendoza, but you already have a top level quarterback on your team. And then Years is always in the MVP conversation, could have 3 MVPs right now if it was not for voter fatigue. And so he's not going anywhere, especially not with the cap hit that would happen before June 1st. But Mentor is going to have to figure out and find an offensive coordinator that can mesh with Lamar, but also hold those players accountable, simplify the offense, bring it back to what we saw not this past season, but the year before, and the success that was happening there, stop the untimely turnovers, and bring back offensive success. I'm so excited to see how this team goes going forward. I'm excited to dive into now who the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators for the Ravens will be. I'd love to hear opinions on who you guys think the offensive and defensive coordinators will be. And I'll be doing my research on that, and that'll be what I'm going into next. And the draft board will wait a little bit because this is big news. I was not expecting it this week, but the Ravens decided, you know what, we're not sitting back anymore. We're not watching. We know who we want. We're taking him now. And I'm all for that. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Brian Flores goes to the Steelers or not. Maybe even the Bills throw a bid out for him. They may do that. But we will see. And that is all I have for you today, guys. I'm so happy that you could jump in real quick for this special episode to talk about the Ravens flash announcement. And I will catch you all next time as we dive deeper into the candidates for offensive and defensive coordinator as those come out. If you're watching the video on YouTube, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love talking with you guys. I will respond to comments. Share the video. If you're on Spotify, do the same. Leave a review. Follow the podcast. You guys make my day. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you all later.